Hello, Stacy. Did you get the PDFs? Testing one. What do you mean odd? PDF, not odd. Got the odd. What does that mean? You should have 1, 2, 3, 3 of them. Is that what you have? How you doing, Paul? You're driving. Pull over. Did you get the PDFs there, Dennis? This was definitely designed for you. Oh, okay. All right, so what I did, I said I promised you to get something together. And what I'm trying to do is find out where everybody is. You know, I just threw a couple figures here, simple ones, and not so complicated, but a little bit more complicated. How you doing, Mr. Mante? Did you get the PDFs? Okay. Certain things we talked about last night, the time signature, 4-4. What does 4-4 mean? The top number indicates the number of beats per measure. The bottom number indicates the beats the kind of beats will receive the count or the beat. Hey, Paul, I got your email yesterday. I didn't realize you played the violin. Maybe you can play something for us. Just kidding. Okay, so 4-4, 4 beats to a measure. Each quarter note receives 1 count or 1 beat. Now, counting systems in 4-4. I have a quarter note count, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple. Then an eighth note count, which would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 16th note count, 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the 4E and Now I didn't hit on the eighth note triplet count. We won't need that until maybe Monday or someday next week. So let's look at the first page, the first line. I did something really simple, just threw some quarter notes, eighth notes, quarter note rest, so on and so forth. Now, from line 1 to page 5, you can count eighth note counting, or 16th note counting, or quarter note counting. Let's do this. Okay. Anyway, let's just do from 1 to 5 in an eighth note count. That's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I'm going to do it slow, and I'm going to do everything here in full strokes on the right hand and the left hand. Theoretically, scientifically, the laws of physics, when I make impact with my right and I make impact with my left from the same position, the sound should be the same, not 1, 2, but the same. All right, so let's do the first line. And I need you to really present yourself. If you have any questions, please shoot them out so I can take care of it and we can go forward. If you're not certain of something and you do not ask a question, then I'm assuming that you know it. If you don't know it, it's going to make the next situation a little bit more difficult for you. And if you keep doing the same thing, we're going to get into this and you're going to get totally lost. So shoot it up, man, when you got some problem with it. How you doing, Seth? Okay, counting system, 8th note, line 1. Nice and slow, full strokes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and very simple. I counted in 8th notes. I played what was there. I played it all in full strokes. My right hand and my left hand sounded the same. Now, please, if you're not certain of something, tell me. Do we all understand line 1? I will not go to line 2 until I get a response. Hey, for your information, Paul, Joe Morello started off on the violin as well. Isn't that amazing? So maybe you're following Joe Morello's footsteps. Good for you. Do we all understand line 1? Come on, guys. Hit it up. Simple yes or no, or, what about the third beat in the second measure, whatever. Jimmy, how you doing? You understand it, right, Paul? Seth, Mr. Mante, Stacy, Dennis, you understand it. I need a couple more because we're going to go to now line 2. Stacy, Seth. All right, line 2. Again, we're in 8th note counting. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay, Stacy, it's not a problem. Old dog, how are you? Listen, you purchased a pre-order on the syncopation formulas. You sent me $45 for the book. I don't know if I could ship a book to Nova Scotia. Let me check it out. Let me see how much it's going to cost. I might do you a favor because you're such a nice guy and pick up the postage. Maybe. If it's too much, we'll split it, okay? How's that sound, old dog? Yeah, it is. It's a great instrument, and, it's not for me, that's for sure. But Jean Leponte, you know Jean Leponte? Played with John McLaughlin, the violin. Great player. All right, we did line 2. We got it? Now, line 3... I'm sorry, Seth. You have the PDFs I sent you. Correct? Now we're on line number 3. Something you're probably not familiar with, a half note. Now we're going to have to do a little bit of math here. And half note equals how many quarter notes? Give me some answers. A half note equals how many quarter notes, guys? $25, dear old dog. I'll try to send you the book. All right, we're on line 3. We have a half note and 2 quarter notes. The half note is equal to what? How many eighth notes or how many quarter notes? Give me the answer in quarter notes and then in eighths. It equals 2 quarter notes. Very good, Mr. Mante. Good, Paul. Everybody gets an A in the new math. Okay, so now you have line 2, 2 quarter notes. So I'm going to count this in eighth note counting. So if I'm counting in eighth note counting, the half note is equal to 4 eighth notes. Line 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Got it? Simple. All right, we go down to line number 4. Now, Dennis, here we go, especially for this has got Dennis written all over it. The 4th line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's the first measure. Okay, now we go to the second measure. You have a dotted half note. You're in trouble here, Dennis, or what? A dotted half note. A dot, here's the rule. A dot placed after a note increases the value. So if a half note is equal to 2 quarter notes, and I have a dotted half note, it's going to therefore equal more than 2 quarter notes. How much more? That's the question. A dot placed after a note increases the value of the note by 1/2 the original value. The original value is 2 quarter notes. So now we're going to increase it by half of that, which would be 1 quarter note. So therefore, a dotted quarter note, a dotted half note equals, a dotted half note equals 3 quarter notes. Yeah, it did, and you did a good job there, old dog. I saw what you were doing, nice. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, okay? All right, so now we all understand a dotted half note. Dennis? A dot placed after a note increases the value of the note by 1/2 the original value. The original value is 2 quarter notes. The dot's going to increase that value by 1/2 of that value, so that, therefore it's going to equal to 3 quarter notes. I'll play the measure again. Second measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Got it? You got it, Dennis. Okay. Now we go to line 5. So we're going to count now, line 5, still the eighth note count. 1 and 2 and 3 and play and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. How you doing, Robert? Okay, so now you have a whole note. One whole note equals 4 quarter notes. So I'm going to do line 2 again, a little faster. 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I could have had you count the whole page in 16th note counting. I'm just too lazy to count all 16ths. There's a lot of counting. So now, when you go to line 6, and it's a good point to bring out, you see you have 3 quarter notes, and now you have 4 16ths. I can count it eighth note counting, I can count it quarter note counting. I can count it half note counting, or I can count it whole note counting. But right now, we're going to count line 6 in 16th note count, which is 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Okay, so here we go. Line 6. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and Do we understand that, gentlemen and ladies? Now, when we start getting into the metronome, I'm going to show you how to do this in the quarter note count with the pulse, or the half note count with the pulse, or the whole note. See, like for example, I don't want to just go off subject here, but let me give you an example. We'll go to line 1, which is pretty simple, and let's do 80. Now, universal is when you turn on the metronome, for example, 80. That equals, each tick is equal to the quarter note, 80 beats per minute. So I'm counting now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the quarter note count. Now I can make the tick equal a half note. So therefore, if I make that equal a half note, I have to have 2 counts, 2 quarter notes before the next click. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I'm going to play line 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a different zone. Anyway, that's where the argument began when I was explaining the math to Ed and to everybody about halftime. Okay? Halftime means to play it in half the time, not double the time. All right, we're not going there. All right, so let's go to the second sheet. And this one again has got Dennis's name all over it. Dennis, line 1, page 2. Dotted quarter note. Okay. Remember the rule. A dot placed after a note increases the value of that note by 1/2 the original value. So a quarter note is equal to 2/8 notes. A dotted quarter note will equal 3/8 notes. So now we're going to play this now. We're going to count this in 16th note count. Okay? 1 E, play E. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Now I made the dotted half, the quarter note in a different place so you don't understand it better. Do we all understand that particular line? Line number 1, page 2. Okay, we understand it? Dennis, it's for you. 1, 2, 1, 2. Again, I'm going to play line 1 over and over again. All right, no response. Let's go to page 2, line number 2. All right. So now we'll do the first measure. 16th note count. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and Hold on. Okay, I will do that. You might want to do this, Seth, if you have a pencil and paper, take a note. Or if you have the Buddy Rich book, there's the definition in there. And sometimes they're in the book, sometimes they're not. So let's play it safe, okay? Write this down. The rule for a dot. A dot placed after a note increases the value by 1/2 the original value. Okay? So, if I have a dotted quarter note, a quarter note by itself is equal to 2/8 notes. 1 and. Okay? Now, it's a dotted quarter note, so I'm going to have to add another eighth note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's like line number 1, the second measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. What I'm going to start to do, and I'll probably do it one day next week, I'm going to say write that figure out like the second measure. And right next to it, I'm going to have a run of 16ths. You know how to count the 16ths. And now, what I'm going to do, above the 16th notes, I'm going to put accents on the 1 and 2, and then and 4 and. So you could foolproof it, or whatever you want to call it. Proofread it, okay? Do you understand that? Seth? One and 2 and. Seth? Paul, you understand that? Well, it's not that it makes sense, it's the rules. 1 plus 1 equals 2. That's a rule. Aha, Dennis, I knew it. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to have you figure it out. You're going to tell me. How's that sound, Dennis? All right, so now let's go back again. A dot. Now follow the rules and write it out, Dennis. I'm not going to give it to you. When you take the journey by yourself, you realize you'll never forget it. So, a dot placed after a note increases the value of the note by 1/2 the original value. So now you have a dotted quarter note. How many eighth notes does a quarter note equal? Dennis, only answer that. How many eighth notes does a quarter note equal? You want me to go outside and get a cigarette before you figure it out, or what? How many eighth notes equal a quarter note? Knocky knock. How many eighth notes equal a quarter note is the question. Nobody answer it but Dennis. Stop driving and pull over. No. A quarter note, not a dotted quarter note. You have 1/4. You're measuring something. It's 1/4 of an inch. Oh, so how many eighths of an inch are in 1/4 of an inch? 2. Who's this? I just said Dennis only. Well, you're new. That's okay. Leach, huh? Leach Hadler? How are you? Okay, so you have, now, there's 2 eighth notes in the quarter note. 1 and. That takes care of the value. Now you have a dotted eighth quarter note. What does the dot do? It increases the value, which is the dotted F. A dotted eighth note equals 3/8 notes. So you have the quarter note 1 and. Now you have the dotted quarter note, which is 1 and 2 and. So now, Dennis, where does, in the first measure, what count does the and fall on? The first and, eighth note. No, we're in line, on line 1. There's no dot. No, forget line 3. We're on line 1. Line 1. The dotted quarter note is 1 and 2. Hello, and. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and a 4 E and. Got it, Dennis? I'm going to play line 1 a little quicker, over and over again, until I get an answer. 1, 2. All right, let's go down to line number 2. That's right, the and of 2. Very good, Dennis. Very good. 1, 2, all right, if I just count it as is. 1, 2, and 3, and the 4, and 1, and 2. That's it. Very good. Do you understand the value of the notation? Before I forget, tonight, we're going to work from the syncopation book. Okay? We're going to go 12, 13, okay, 12 and 13. That's right, Dennis. Now, we're going to go to line 3. Again, 16th note counting, line 3. 1, E, boom. 1, E, and, 2, E, and, the, 3, E, and, 4, E, and, 1, E, and, the, 2, E, and, the, 3, E, and, the, 4, E, and. Get it? Line number 4. Simple. 1, E, and, 2, E, and, 3, E, and, 4, E, and, 1, E, and, 2, E, and, 3, E, and, 4, E, and, Now this next line, line 6, I made you pull over. Well, you're supposed to be pulled over if you can't be watching your phone when you're driving. You get a ticket. Click it or put the phone down or you get a ticket. Okay, line number 6, and this is again, says hello, Dennis again. Line 6. Uh-oh, a dotted eighth note. Ding dong, ding dong. The rule remains the same. A dot placed after a note increases the note's value by 1/2 the original value. So an eighth note is equal to 2/16. Got it? Now, the dot increases the value of that note by 1/2 the original value. The original value is 2/16 of an eighth note. Now it increases by 1/2 of that, which is 3. So a dotted eighth note equals 3/16. I'm going to do line number 6, the first downbeat. 1, E, and, da. Got it? 1, E, and, da. Now I'm going to go play the whole line. 1, E, and, da. 2, E, and, da. 3, E, and, da. 4, E, and, 1, E, and, 2, E, and, 3, E, and, 4, E, and, Okay, any questions from this point, to this point rather? Any questions? What is that, 3/116? Yeah, a dotted eighth note equals 3/16 notes. That's a better way to write it, Dennis. Just say it equals 3/16 notes. How's that, better? All right, I have, next week, we're going to do a crazy as, what's that, Robert? You don't understand? No question? No questions, Hoist? Dennis, I'm going to take you and everybody else as well on a trip with dots, ties, and rests. And I'm going to take it from that one book I mentioned to you, everyone, yesterday, Variations of Drumming. I'm going to mix it up a little bit. I can't write it out exactly the way it is. But after you complete this, you will understand the notation of a dotted eighth note, a dotted quarter note, a dotted eighth note rest, 16th note rest, half note rest. You're going to find out all these things. It's not easy. And I'm going to give you one measure, and alongside the measure, I'm going to run, we're doing 16th note counting. So I'm going to run a grouping of 16th notes. And then, like I said, on top, I might just put the accents to show you where the notation is. All right, there's no questions as of now. We are going to be back tonight, 7 p.m. Hopefully, I will give a longer lesson. And by the way, I'm almost finished the syncopation formulas. I'm on a page 130. I have 35 more pages to go. So I should have that done by sometime tomorrow and to the printer either Saturday or Monday. And I should be able to have them in-house Monday evening. So whoever ordered the books, pre-ordered them, will get them sometime next week. Okay, guys? No questions? Dennis, now you can go back at the traffic. Okay, see everybody this evening, 7 p.m. Who's the new guy that was in here? Yes, I am. The Ted Reed book. I'm taking a lot from there and doing a lot with it, okay? As I did with the stick control book formulas, that was from George Lawrence Stone and my own formulas. Where are you from, Leach Haller? Thank you, Seth. Let me give you my email. You could email me, and I'll put you on the mailing list. Yes, as PDFs. 2 formats. Okay, the hardcover and the PDF format. Yeah, you can pre-order. Where are you from? Why don't you email me, please? We'll talk on that. If you're outside of the U.S., uh, it's hard to ship that because the postage is astronomical. If you live outside of the United States, oh, you're in Italy. Yingi. It'll cost about $25 just to send it there. That's a lot of money. So it comes in the PDF format. Here's my email. Email me and I will send you the time and location and the week's agenda for all the lessons. The lessons are the have the syncopation book tonight. Okay? I'm not going to be able to write any more PDFs out until sometime next week. I'm sure you guys understand. Okay, guys, have a good rest of the day, and we'll see you tonight, 7 p.m.